On behalf of the Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. Day Committee, welcome to the first annual Voices in the Movement Arts Competition Award Ceremony. This contest was created to recognize artistic work that furthers the message of Dr. King and the ongoing work around social justice. In this first year of the competition, Goshen College and Elkhart County high schools were invited to enter and compete. Students were asked to demonstrate high artistry while addressing the themes embedded in Dr. King's vision. This year's contest consisted of two distinct contest paths. The Descendants of Dr. King path was created to highlight and lift up the Black and African American experience and was made available to Black and African American students. The Allies of Dr. King path was open to any of the other students wanting to stand in solidarity through their own expression. The categories that students in either path could explore were as follows: the voice in the movement for writing and spoken word, the vision in the movement for film, video, and multimedia content, the sound in the movement primarily aimed at music and rhythmic expression, and the sight in the movement for visual art. In this inaugural year of the contest, we saw many entries in 3 of our 4 categories, and our judges awarded students in the categories of the voice in the movement and the sight in the movement. The MLK Day Committee would like to thank all of the students who entered work into this contest and our judges who spent quality time with these works to choose our winners. There were many strong pieces for the judges to consider, and in all cases, the pieces that were awarded were the ones that really addressed the theme of the competition, in addition to being well-crafted artistically. During this presentation, you will experience the winning works for yourselves. You will also hear the artist statements for the Sight in the Movement category read aloud by me as the work is on your screen. Each entry path will have a grand prize winner separate from our first and second place awards, and first and second place awards for each of the contest categories. Thank you for joining us, and we hope you enjoy the show. Winners from the Descendants of Dr. King path. The first place award in the category of The Voice in the Movement goes to Goshen College sophomore Jakyra Green for her spoken word collection entitled Wishful Worries, White Walls, and These Experiences Are Not Illusions. Congratulations.
This first poem is titled Wishful Worries. Being the oldest child is not for the weak. It comes with responsibilities every day of the week. I'm talking bottle making, babysitting, and diaper changing. We've all gotten older, so those days are gone. I'm glad I don't have to worry about those things anymore. I just have to worry about swapping clothes with my sister, about the perpetual pleas of my brothers to buy them the latest video game, about the calls and texts I get when mom makes them upset, about their love lives or the radiant gleam in their eyes when they land their first apartment, about a day when their blackness is the only thing an officer sees. The thing is, I wish police officers who place us in a confined box would see what I see. I wish they heard the barks of our first dog and the scattered giggles that filled the house's crevices, the clenched toes clutching onto the sand as we devoured turkey sandwiches. I wish they saw World War III almost erupt over who drank the last purple Powerade. It was me, by the way. I wish they tasted my great-grandma's homemade collard greens and pumpkin pie on Thanksgiving. And I wish they saw the day when I realized they wouldn't be little, and that I could not protect them, in the same way officers protect their kin and other white, colorless bodies. This next poem is titled White Walls. In the small white classroom, they crack jokes and carry on as usual. In the small white classroom, another murder of black flesh rests on my face. Be careful, don't let your facade crack. I look at the other 2 black kids to see if there's a crack in their facade too. Do they feel isolated in this white room? Like the off-white walls and off-white bodies are ingesting them whole? Can't sell cigarettes like Eric Garner. Can't sleep in my home like Breonna Taylor. Can't play with a fake gun like Tamir Rice. And don't you dare run, boy. If you do, you know what happens to black flesh. How long will it take before I crack? Before I raise my hand and ask, why are we carrying on as usual? This last poem is titled, These Experiences Are Not Illusions. In second grade, my friend told me about a time she heard a classmate ask the white teacher, "What do you do if a police officer is mean to you?" In middle school, my sister and I went shopping at a packed Aeropostale. We walked past a white woman saying "excuse me" when she yelled at us, all while exclaiming to her husband how we were in her way. One day, I heard a lady on the TV say to thousands of people that Zendaya's dreadlocks smell like weed and canola oil. That same week, I overheard someone tell this white girl how her dreads were super cool and unique. And in high school, I went to a 7-Eleven with my friends. My white friend paid for my sour Skittles and I walked out. The cashier thought I was stealing and almost pressed the button to alert the cops. I was furious. And my friend said to chill out because it wasn't a big deal. We almost argued the whole car ride until I realized my words had just cascaded onto tone-deaf ears. These experiences are not illusions. Now, for those asking why America has such an unhealthy obsession with race, view the history of our country and what it was built upon. Even with our country's racist history and their colorblind faces, many white Americans fail to see the racial discrepancies. Nearly 50% of young white Americans say today, discrimination against them is as big of a problem as discrimination against a person of color. And while most white Americans say they feel uncomfortable discussing racial issues, I feel uncomfortable being racially profiled. These experiences are not illusions. Racism is another thing that we have to talk about, even and especially if you are not directly affected by it. Because the truth is, we cannot be the recipient of an oppressive society without facing the repercussions. These experiences are not illusions. In police violence, it works two ways. The implicit biases of the justice system have taught that large pockets of the Black community are suspicious and combative. It's the reason why when Obama was asked, "Is the justice system racist?" he answered, yeah. It's the reason why 1 in 4 Black males under the age of 29 are behind bars. It's the reason why Black women are hesitant to report their sexual assault. It's the reason why Rosa Parks did not give up her seat. It's the reason why Martin Luther King Jr. organized the Alabama sit-ins. It's the reason why I could have died over a pack of Skittles. Just like Trayvon Martin, who can't even tell his story. And it's the reason why our experiences are not illusions.
Our grand prize winner for the Descendants of Dr. King Path from the Sight in the Movement category goes to Goshen College senior Gloria Bontrager Thomas for her collage collection An Ode to Blackness. Congratulations. Gloria's artist statement. I began this work as a theater project a little over a year and a half ago, as a response to the lack of Black stories in the theater industry. During that time, I interviewed several African American families and friends about their experiences in a Black body and around systemic racism. This collage collection is the first draft of the play which I am currently developing to be my senior theater recital. I chose this medium for my first draft because it allowed me to physically connect stories, words, and images into a visual outline from which I could create a traditional play script. Building the collection gave me new insight into myself, the people I interviewed, and the art I want to make moving forward. Cutting out images and words forced me to be deliberate in what I added to the canvas and where it was added, and intentional about which excerpts from the interviews to choose. This piece is something I am very proud of, and I cannot wait to share it and the stage with my community. Winners from the Allies of Dr. King Path. Our second place award from the Voice in the Movement category goes to Goshen College sophomore Anastasia Stevens for her written work entitled Education Inequality, A True Story. Congratulations.
The power of the written word. Access denied. Haven't you heard? Education is a privilege not everyone has earned. Kendall's mama made her work, the third-grade girl who asked for more subtraction worksheets. Numbers dancing on the page like her unruly hair would not be tamed. She didn't have a natural gift, but it was pertinent to getting out. The product of her poverty. She was the subtrahend, the what was left of life. Of course, if we let people read, they might start thinking thoughts, and then you'll see, they'll learn to write, express themselves, and talk. Good schooling, good job, good God, you've got it made. At least, that's what Kendall's mama thought. The torch of that hope had been passed down, and don't you know how much a dream weighs? People trapped in cages have the time to question policies. Our decency is leaking through the cracks in concrete boxes. We live with the knowledge that our acts have consequences, but when questioned state the same old stupid, racist generalizations. Actions, 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 louder than words, 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 but words won't speak for those denied the right to education. Left only with their actions, they speak old unwritten anger, anger, anger. Their oppression, why? Is it not a crime considered to erase the broken pieces of the past, pretend like nothing happened, but whose hands have tried to wash themselves and found it stained too deeply, are deceiving inequality, denying some the right to read, the words to write, the voice to speak. And 2 + 2 is a slice of hope, an American dream like apple pie, reserved for the few and dreamt by the many, where the rules are written by the men who learned the math but forgot the equal sign. Let them read, write, speak. Let them speak. Let them speak.
The first place winner from the Voice in the Movement category goes to Goshen College sophomore Mariela Esparza for her spoken word and written work entitled The White Sea in 1963 is Not an End, but a Beginning. Congratulations.
The White Sea. Around you are eyes light and faces bright. The kid to your left is white, and to the right is only a brighter white. And the teacher, of course, he's white. In all that you write, your appetite, it's big and it's bright, so don't be polite and hide your light, because I know it's more than all right. So don't take flight, stay, put up a fight. Your name, you'll rewrite. Bask in the spotlight, show them you belong, that it's more than a birthright. Let their tokenism ignite. And when they tell you to recite, be as confident as a man who is straight and white. Tell them, I am as confident as myself tonight. 1963 is not an end, but a beginning. When someone dies, their legacy is recounted with the pretty and palatable parts. You would never hear a eulogy careless with condemnation. Martin Luther King is no exception to this. I've been taught about Dr. King since elementary school. Don't you remember? Annual assemblies and airless auditoriums and pressing palms and paint to make a picture of peace. I know all about I Have a Dream on the marble steps of the Lincoln Memorial, bus boycotts, and a summary Montgomery Gandhi's guidance and his Nobel Peace Prize. Now that's a story suitable for the scions of a sensitive society. But what if I told you something they never told us about him? The reality is that Dr. King upheld socialist values and being committed to radical racial justice. You see, so often we want to think of race or political affiliation as the main things that divide us as a society, but in reality it's class, and it always has been. If someone is constantly pointing out how someone is different from you, you will always fail to see in what ways you are exactly the same. We will not be free from racism without doing something about capitalism, because the system that produces the one also produces the other. Dr. King was killed in '68 when he was working on the Poor People's Campaign. Dr. King was not killed in the peaceful protests of 63. That's how you know bringing consciousness to the classes is a far more fatal threat to the higher-ups. He understood that radical is the least we should be doing, that a better distribution of wealth and the abolition of poverty is nothing short of human decency. What if we authentically embodied what King called us to be? What if we had housing for the homeless and sincere schooling for the scholar? What if we had a suitable system of health for civilization and a proper plan to heal our planet? Yes, all the time, King spoke of love. After all, he was a preacher first. Realize now, he spoke of the perils of militarism, capitalism, and racism through love. Contrary to popular belief, leftism and love do not contradict. They complement. Now, what do you think he would have to say about all the things still happening today? About the winds of police brutality that have not ceased to this day? He told the crowd at the Capitol, "We can never be satisfied as long as our children are stripped of their selfhood and robbed of their dignity by signs stating, 'For whites only.'" But what would he have to say about the signs that remain, only now they're invisible? 1963 was not that long ago. Maybe it's today. In his Joseph year, from the top of those steps, he told us 1963 is not an end, but a beginning.
The second place winner from the Sight in the Movement category is Goshen College senior Priscilla Tanujaya for her computer-generated two-dimensional work entitled Massive March, Japan, 2963. Congratulations. Priscilla's artist statement. I enjoy making science fiction unrealistic approaches in my subject matter. There are different understandings of this piece that audience members can glance through. Many realize that Dr. King drove the development to end isolation and counter bias in the United States through peaceful dissent. His addresses profoundly affected public cognizance. Even though prejudice is occurring in this world, this piece shows that the impact keeps spreading across the globe. Another thing we can see, the robots are fundamentally dissenting against prejudice and battling for black lives. We can see this in human understanding. They all appear to be identical. They are altogether just simply robots. The same as with us. We are simply human. The main distinction between the robots is the color. Yet, toward the day's end, they are still robots. Eventually, we are all still human, equivalent to every other person's, paying little mind to our race, identity, ethnicity, background, and so on. Dr. King became famous later in his massive march on Washington in 1963. Although it appears to be quite some time in the past, his voice is yet echoing strongly 1,000 years after the event in this piece. The first place winner for the Sight in the Movement category is Goshen College first year Karmen Campos for her pen and ink piece entitled Yearning to be Seen. Congratulations. Carmen's artist statement. My piece is inspired by the Statue of Liberty and what it represents. Its placard states, "Give me your tired, your poor, your huddled masses yearning to breathe free. The wretched refuse of your teeming shore. Send these, the homeless, tempest-tossed, to me. I lift my lamp beside the golden door." This quote resonates a lot with me and how I view the Black experience and its hardships. To me, this quote relates to the Black Lives Matter movement as well as to the images that the stain of slavery has left on our country. The grand prize winner for the Allies of Dr. King Path is Bethany Christian High School senior Helen Stoy for her painting entitled Missing Pages. Congratulations. Helen's artist statement. As part of the Allies of Dr. King Path, I am presenting an oil painting named Missing Pages, depicting an African-American woman holding a ruined U.S. history textbook. As I searched for inspiration, I came across an African-American abstract artist, Yoruba F. Slaughter, whose work I studied and contacted for more information. Over a couple of emails, I centered my focus on allyship in the form of accountability. In my piece, I wanted to convey how we haven't done enough to address Dr. King's message of ending segregation when it comes to our country's history. Our nation isn't created by just white people, and it's time to both realize and change this. Time to step further into actualizing Dr. King's dream, not just in our history books, but in our lives. We must hold each other accountable. That concludes our award ceremony. Congratulations again to all of our winners, and thank you to all of the students who entered this competition. Your work is truly amazing.